In time, we'll go to the last presentation by Kostya Kortchinsky. He is manager of the RENATER CERT. You know all what is a CERT. He will explain in more detail what is his, what are the function he is, of course, fulfilling in RENATER. Please, Kostya.
Good afternoon. So I will just start with the acronym CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team. It usually means that we are doing all the security stuff on the backbone, and we are providing security services to the people connected to the backbone. That usually means prevention by telling the security administrators, system and network administrators, which are the latest vulnerabilities, which are the stuff to do and not to do. And there is also the reaction and incident when a machine is compromised, when there is stuff like that. We can provide services to the community in order to help them to solve the security issues, and that's it. So the talk is mostly oriented to file sharing, peer-to-peer networks, because I'm ashamed to say that it's a lot more used in the community than any other peer-to-peer stuff, legit stuff, and also all the oriented peer-to-peer networks. So I will start with some figures about peer-to-peer on our network. I think the thing is almost the same on every NREN, but unfortunately there is not much figures about peer-to-peer, because it's mostly admitting that people on our network are doing bad things. Because even if we have a good point of view of peer-to-peer, what is used on the network is mostly to distribute films, music, or applications, and that's all copyright violations. I will deal about the security issues on those file sharing peer-to-peer networks. Mostly viruses, Trojans, and malware. That's I think everybody knows about that. I will go a little further into that. And information disclosure. That's a really interesting and really important point, because we have a lot of sensitive information. Being an academic network, we have some large laboratories. We have students doing their PhD, their thesis, or whatever. And there are a lot of sensitive informations in all the computers. So information disclosure is really important, and it's a real threat when people are using peer-to-peer file sharing application. And then the last one, which is not very advertised, I would say, which is system compromised. Simply having an application running on your system, perhaps somebody can get root on that system, or recover all the files on the system or stuff like that. And I will go to some solutions to the problems. Here, I will start with the figures. Here's the map of the third version of our network, RENATER, the French academic network. I will start with traffic monitoring. That's not really the point, but that just for you to understand how it works. In each town, big town in each region of France, we have a router that will send all the NetFlow stuff to 2 servers located in Paris. With that architecture, we can easily watch the flows given by the peer-to-peer application using standard ports. For the moment, like 1214 for Casa, like 4662 to 4665 for eDonkey and eMule. So with that, we mine all the data we get in order to make graphs about what is going on our network. Peer-to-peer is one of the applications of that. So here is a graph of what was happening a day of April, 1 month ago about. Here's in blue you have all the flows. These are the data in gigabytes. In blue you have all the flows coming from RENATER. That means going to Géant. That means going to other commercial ISPs and things like that. So in blue, that's 2,500 gigabytes of data, and among these data is 25% of peer-to-peer application. That's quite a lot. I think we have started to fight against peer-to-peer, and in fact, more than a year ago, it was representing 50% of the traffic going out of RENATER. So that's quite an issue, because there's an acceptable policy of use that states that the traffic on RENATER should only be academic traffic, and everybody is supposed to sign. All the managers of the sites connecting to RENATER are supposed to sign an agreement that says that they will make sure that all the traffic that will go to RENATER is only academic traffic, research, stuff like that. But unfortunately, there's still a lot of traffic that is supposedly not academic, because, as I said, most of this will be films, will be movies, will be music, etc. So on the right side, there's the repartition. That's eDonkey is at the top. And there's also Casa, Direct Connect, Napster. That's it. So now the traffic going to RENATER, that means the student or other people downloading things, is now 7% of the total traffic coming to RENATER. So that's, once again, it was 25% more than a year ago. And when we started to look at this and to shut down the sites, it decreased. About the number of flows, that's quite not very important, in fact, but that's normal because there's a lot more data than flows coming from peer-to-peer applications, and all the flows are HTTP and stuff like that. So, in fact, as I showed before, there's a lot of people using peer-to-peer file sharing application in our network, and we started to get interested in the security implications that this was giving to the users. There are several ones. I will try to make this part quite practical in order for you to see that it's really easy for somebody running a peer-to-peer file sharing application to get his machine compromised or to disclose informations. I will start with viruses. I think that everybody knows now what is a virus. Here's the definition taken from whatis.com. Mostly viruses are pieces of code that are intended to replicate and potentially harm the system. There's several ways of viruses to spread. The most common ways in the latest months were email. It started some months ago, and some years ago, I think. And now, some months ago, the virus started to spread via peer-to-peer file sharing. The first mean of this dissemination of viruses is the software itself. Here's a screenshot from download.com. That's the week ending May 11th, showing the most downloaded applications on the site. So as you see, there's Kasa, which comes first, and I would say with a very, very high number of downloads, 225 million of downloads. There's iMesh and Morpheus also. So the popularity of the software makes it a valuable infection vector. That can be done in several ways. The first way would be, of course, to impersonate a download site by making some advertisement saying, hey, here's the latest version of Kasa, come here to download it. But the guy will put some virus instead of the real Kasa, and some things like that. There's also some program known as Kasa Booster, which is supposed to make the download go faster if you download it and install it. And of course, it's not at all the case, and people will download that, install that, and realized it was later perhaps a virus. There is another thing interesting that happened to Grokster in January 2002. In fact, that was the program itself that contained a virus. Usually, peer-to-peer file sharing applications comes with advertising software, and for the Grokster case, it was in fact a virus that was shipped by the advertising company to the software company making Grokster, and the people just added the software, the advertising software to the software without noticing anything. But later, 3 weeks after, they noticed that there was a virus in it, a Trojan called DLDR. The dissemination, the spreading of the viruses is, of course, also done by the content provided by the users. Since each user acts as a server for each other user, there's no centralized way to store and to upload and download files. So there is no way for the software developer to make a virus check of what is provided, and also to check that the content of the file is indeed what it is. So the protection is totally up to the user, and that means that it's quite interesting for people in order to spread new viruses. You just make a virus, and you just call it like the latest movie that is supposed to go out on the theaters, like Matrix 2, Matrix Reloaded. You make a file, you call that Matrix Reloaded.avi.exe. And most of the users won't even notice that there's a double extension to the file. Will download it, will try to launch it, and will end with the virus. The other problem is that most of the time the downloaded file is immediately given as a potential upload file to other users, simply because there's, like in Kasa, a directory that is named My Shared Folder, and you will download the file to My Shared Folder by default, but this folder is also shared. So it's really easy to be either knowingly or unknowingly a mean of virus spread. Here is a quote from the website of Kasa about viruses. They say that most of the files that are accessible using Kasa originate from other users. That's what I said, and there is always the risk of irresponsible user introducing viruses. So you might think that most people are doing that without even knowing, but some are indeed maliciously doing that in order to for their stuff to spread. And it has become a really very easy mean to spread viruses. So the point when doing the studies of all the peer-to-peer stuff was to check if our community was indeed, or any peer-to-peer file sharing community was indeed potentially the target of viruses. So I studied a bit the example of some viruses. There's the first example of a virus spreading via RC, P2 peer-to-peer networks, and also mail is Mercure. It was quite one of the first ones to use peer-to-peer as a way to spread. It was quite basic, just copying itself in program files, Kasa, my shell folder, and with a name that would interest people. So that's IP spoofer or virtual sex simulator. That's something that is, I'm afraid to say, searched a lot on this network. So it was spreading by just copying itself there and waiting for people to get it. But then they realized it wasn't quite a good thing, and some people were written other viruses. This one is Ghoul, and it was a bit more interesting because for this time he created his own folder, or using the existing one, sys32 in Windows directory, and it was making this folder accessible to everybody by just modifying a registry key for Kasa. So and then it simply named itself like always Catherine Zeta-Jones nude. That's another thing that is searched a lot. Britney or Xbox emulator. Sorry. So those viruses are in fact becoming more and more aware of how peer-to-peer file sharing networks work, and they will now, some of them will even now share the whole C disk in order for everybody to be able to browse the content of the disk and things like that. So it's quite interesting. But I was wondering. That can be true. People can be fooled by such things. So I tried to I installed the evaluation version of Kaspersky antivirus, and on the test box a few peer-to-peer file sharing clients. So the first thing is that I search on Kasa for Xbox emulator. Knowing that there's no software Xbox emulator, there's perhaps some hardware chip doing that, but every software thing, it's an Xbox emulator, will be probably a virus. So I had several hundreds of hits in my searches, which means that all the people giving away this file are potentially infected by the virus itself. So I decided to download a few of those, about 10 I think, and I got 9 different viruses. These are on the right side, sorry. The first one is a worm. Now they added the P2p keyword in the description of the virus thing. It indeed spreads via peer-to-peer networks. The other one was Supernova. So that was for Xbox emulator search on Kasa. Now I'm switching to Emule, and I was searching no CD that is most often included in the name of cracks in order to use pirated games. So there were two files I downloaded. That was a GTA Vice City crack and Splinter Cell, quite known games. And in both there was once again 2 viruses, 2 backdoors, and in the second one NetBus, which is quite old now, but in fact still works. So now the problem is there's the threat of viruses. having a virus might be not a problem for some people. They will say, okay, I'll just format my hard drive, everything is back up somewhere. But I will just point out that many viruses today are spreading also via email, and perhaps you noticed that some of them are now joining a document, a real document found on the hard drive, in order to make the mail more true to the eyes of the person who is receiving the mail. So there's a slight probability that the document that will be sent will be a valuable document. That's the first kind of information disclosure found nowadays. So now I will go rather quickly on spywares. Here's once again a definition found on the whatis.com about spyware. That's any technology that aids in gathering information about a person. Usually it's shipped with adware software. Just software that software developers will earn money with the ads in their software. But usually, in order to target the user more precisely, there are statistics that are done on the websites where the user usually goes, or on the file he downloads, or stuff like that. So it can be quite. I don't think many of the spyware things are not very harmful, just sending statistical data, but once again, it's data about you going out on the network up to some centralized computer that will then do statistics on you and stuff like that. It's increasing the risk of a system compromise since introducing more and more stuff on your sensitive stuff on your computer. So once again, on the test computer, I installed adware, which is a software that will hunt spyware. The interesting thing is that it found many spywares after installing the peer-to-peer applications, and he didn't find any before. There is Save Now, which was installed by Kasa, and Cedar, which was installed by eDonkey, I think. When going to the configuration panel of Windows, I went to Uninstall Software and found the Save Now software in this part. I uninstalled it, and when launching Kasa again, it said there was missing an important component, and it was no longer able to run without it. So even uninstalling the spyware makes it makes the software no longer work. So there is still a great risk of sharing unintended files, and that might be because of the users not understanding of how the peer-to-peer application works, or it might be once again because of the viruses that will add C or D or even all the disk as shared to all the networks. So once again, I made a few tests. Here is on Kasa. I launched a search for the inbox keyword, which is used by IMAP clients like Mozilla or even POP if you don't rename the default directory. And inbox too in eDonkey, and in fact it found a lot of inbox. And usually I don't think that people will share an inbox file or their mail on purpose. So on the right for eDonkey there are several inbox.dbx, which is the format used by Outlook Express to store the mails. And I tried on the left screenshot to download 260 megabytes inbox file from Kasa, and it worked perfectly. So what I did just after that was, since there is a chatting feature in the P2p application, I made a lot of searches about inbox, about all the default names of mailboxes under Windows, and tried to message all the persons sharing the inbox file. About I message about 10 or 15 persons. I got only two replies. I guess the first ones were not even behind their computers, so they couldn't even notice that there was somebody downloading their mail on their computer. And for the two replies I got, that's people who didn't even know they were sharing all their files on their computer. Once, just to know where this could lead a malicious user on the peer-to-peer network, I downloaded the DBX file, translated it to an ASCII mailbox, and here's what I got that's in French. That's a typical thing you can get by exploring a mailbox. It just says that you have forgotten your password. Here it is, and see you soon on the website. So you have the password of the user. You have his email. You have the website for which the password is, and you can probably do everything you want with that. I would stress the point that mailboxes are really a very high risk, because they will have documents that are sent from people to other people that might include sensitive documents, that will include the password and login to several sites, which can be used then to guess the password on the machine, because several people, and I guess the people using peer-to-peer, often use the same password on all the platforms they have. So that was for the information disclosure part. Now we'll go to system compromise, which is the the highest level of compromission you can get, I think. Here is a beer share advice. It just says you don't need to get rid of your firewall. You just need to drill a hole in it in order to share files, and it won't decrease the security, because BeerShare doesn't contain any security holes. So here is the security hole of BeerShare. It's a directory traversal attack. Usually it means that when you go to, for example, a web server and use // in order to get back in the tree of directory, you can recover sensitive files like under Unix, etc password, and things like that. So it was a vulnerability that was discovered once, that was supposed to be taken care of, and that in fact wasn't, because it was still possible to disclose files by encoding the request which was sent to the web server. So that's potentially made the whole disk available to the user who has just opened a port in order for BeerShare to be able to share files. Here's for eDonkey2000 now, buffer overflow. Once again, all the URLs taken there from security focus, and these are backtrack IDs. This one is simply done in. It's a buffer overflow in the handler of custom URLs. In fact, eDonkey just add an handler for the URL starting with ed2k, and this way, putting an URL on a website and forcing or suggesting to a user to click on it would trigger the overflow and potentially give shell access to the machine. Once again, another buffer overflow in Kasa this time. This is quite interesting because this time it's in the part that will download the advertisement in the machine. So by pretending you are the site that gives out the ads, potentially by sniffing the network and by injecting new traffic on the network, or by like the layer 2 attacks that was discussed here yesterday or stuff like that, you can trigger buffer overflow in Kasa. So these were for the file sharing programs, but there's another one that's quite interesting because it's located. It was discovered 2 months or 3 months ago in the client of SETI@Home, and in fact there's no open port in SETI@Home. SETI@Home will just go and fetch information and treat it and compute it and whatever. So this time. That's when the SETI@Home uses an HTTP client to download new work units, and by pretending you're the site that gives out the new work units, you can trigger a buffer overflow in the client. So there was something implemented as a proof of concept on the URL just at the top of the slide, and it indeed was working. So for example, you have a network, several clients running SETI@Home, a proxy in order to connect to the internet. A pirate, by just compromising the proxy, is now able to compromise every machine running SETI@Home on the network. So here are a couple of solutions. This one is from Janet, and I think that will be the one adopted by RENATER in a few weeks. For the moment, just to tell you, we are just making a list of the top 20 highest users of peer-to-peer file sharing applications. So, and then we contact the security administrators of the site, telling that it would be better to stop or to filter peer-to-peer applications. So, from the Janet CERT, here's the quote of the website. In an aim to improve the security of our network and reduce the bandwidth, that's one of our problem too, we have decided to block peer-to-peer file sharing. There's then a list of ports of all the known applications, and all these ports are blocked from the outside.
That's by site, not by the whole network.
Okay. Okay, that will be done. That will be done by the whole network for us in a moment. But indeed, at the moment, it's done by a few sites in our network, but not all the sites. Some quote, some page of the University of Chicago about disabling peer-to-peer file sharing, and there's a whole lot of screenshots. About how to disable the file sharing on their network, but that's, I think, not the solution, because even if you don't share files on your computer, there are still possible vulnerabilities included in the software that can be triggered just while downloading a file or downloading an update or downloading an advertisement or anything. So that's most of it. I would say that the security issue is and the concept of trust is not at all considered by the person developing those applications at the moment, I say, and that makes these applications quite harmful for the network, for the work of researchers, for the bandwidth that is used without any academic aim. So that's my conclusion. I think that's quite some aspects to consider when developing file sharing or peer-to-peer applications, to be very aware of the possible security issues, particularly with the buffer overflows in every part of the code and stuff like that. But that was, I think, the case in the latest presentation. So here is the end of the presentation. If you have any questions about peer-to-peer.
Yes. Okay, first.
Sorry.
First, thank you, Kostya. Well, just before the question, I think that the four presentations were applying really, I would say, the philosophy of this conference. Because the philosophy, if I well remember, is user opportunities with peer-to-peer and network challenges for those who have to put in place security, of course, not to block useful peer-to-peer, but of course to let useful peer-to-peer for research go where it must go. Okay? So, now questions.
Regarding the identification of P2p application, you are using NetFlow, but basically using the ports, right? Like 1214 for Casa, but I mean, you know that Casa now it can be full dynamic and use any ports, including port 80. Yeah. So how do you see the future of recognizing sites using peer-to-peer?
So the problem, in fact, is with even tunneling the applications and stuff like that is really a problem for us at the moment, since we are not able to do traffic measurements by machine, just by site. So I think the future of that, and that was discussed with many sites in our community, is to implement traffic measurement tools at the level of the site in order to see that, oh, this machine has done 2 gigabytes of traffic in the night, and that's it. So for the moment, as I said, that's only port recognition, and we're, I think, missing a lot of things in these. And I will add to your comment that on several interfaces on the routers, that's only sampled NetFlow, so we reach only 10% of the flows. And since the number of flows represented by peer-to-peer application is rather low, we will catch all the HTTP flows and stuff like that, and not the peer-to-peer. So the 20% to 22, 23 is not quite accurate, but I think we could maybe add 10 or 10% too, but since that's there's other legal traffic, so that might be yes between 0 and 10% more at the most, I would say. But yes, traffic measurement sites is the solution according to me.
It's actually 3 questions in one. Have you switched this up?
Well, it's working, I think. Try again.
It's working? Okay,
yeah.
It's working now. Actually, on enforcement, I've heard a number of reports of different things that the copyright holders may be doing. I'd be interested to know, I've not heard any from Europe, so I'd be interested to hear if anyone has heard about these anywhere in Europe. Listing them, I've heard a report that Madonna has actually recorded a sound file of herself saying a rude message, which is spreading around the networks with the name of most of her songs and inviting people to download. Certainly rumours that the vulnerabilities in the clients are actually being attacked by copyright holders who will look to do denial of service attacks against machines that they find holding copyright materials. And there are certainly legal threats. There have been 4 students in the States have been sued for, I think it was $10,000 per file each by the companies. They've, I believe, settled out of court for rather less, but certainly 5-figure sums of dollars per student. And in Australia there's been a threat to universities trying to get the courts to make the universities take a snapshot of their entire file system and hand it over to the copyright lawyers. I'd be interested to know, as you may guess, if anyone has heard any of those happening in, under European systems.
For RENATER, there was nothing that came to our ear about such a thing. There was once a message from Microsoft that was sent, but not peer-to-peer, but illustrating the process about a FTP server with StarOffice that was on the server, and we received as a CERT message saying that you are giving out a copy of Microsoft Office and it's illegal, and you must get it off quickly of the FTP. And that was quite interesting because they just made a grep on Office Word, and it was StarOffice. It wasn't even Microsoft Office. So that was, I would say, I was very surprised about such a thing. And in fact, about the rumors of the vulnerabilities, there was a message of Goebbels on Backtrack saying that they were hired by hired by the firms to search and implement tools to exploit vulnerabilities in the clients. Once again, I haven't even heard about something being exploited in France, and even not a message from copyrighted holders or people like that. But and for Madonna, it is true. That one of the techniques that is to create fakes, as they call it on websites, fakes of the latest movies and music, and to try to spread them on the peer-to-peer networks in order to to fool the users or to disgust them about using peer-to-peer networks, file sharing networks.
Yes.
This could be even worse because I remember to see at least one application that a peer-to-peer application that uses port 443 reserved port from HTTP over SSL, so you cannot really distinguish between real traffic and peer-to-peer traffic. It's
I would say about that the size of the data will be the determining thing in that. I think that a person downloading an ISO of Linux or something like that will do that only once, but some people downloading movies will do that again and again and again, and even music and stuff like that. So there's the possibility to, among the data, in fact, NetFlow gives the size of the flow. So we have flows reaching 600 megabytes, and we have flows, just control flows, about 40 bytes or things like that. So it's quite, I would say, a bit more easy to determine what kind of traffic it is, just having the data size and the habits of the person using the machine.
So you will bet for NetFlow monitoring, but instead of port blocking or something?
At the moment, we are using NetFlow monitoring, but as was told before, I think it will quickly reach its limits due to things like that, and we will do. It's planned, I think, at least port blocking about for the four most known applications. That will be Kazai, Donkey, and Gnutella, and that's it. So that will reduce the traffic, I think, but people are quite when regarding the ability of people to find movies or MP3s, they are a lot more. They have a lot more initiative, and they will be able to find another way to do that by tunneling it into HTTP, HTTPS, or any other protocol that won't be that can't be blocked on all the network, because there would be that will not be possible. But in fact. In fact, that's traffic measurements per machine is, I think, the solution.
Okay. Perhaps we can take a last question, unfortunately. One. Well, say two questions. One here and one there. Because as a chairman, I have a mission to stop this. Well, I mean to close, sorry, this session, because there are both sessions coming. I think, I don't know if it's at 6, I think, so to give you some time. Okay, Andrew, please.
Quick follow-up to that. A number of our sites have been extremely successful in looking at the net traffic flow. So if you're doing web accesses, you send very small requests and you get very large responses. Any of these tunneling over the web, you get a fairly big inflow and a much bigger outflow. So what they're doing is simply doing net flow by IP address, and any IP address which sends more data out than is coming in is suspect, if you don't know what it is, and they're getting very high success rates, and it's dead simple.
So this was not a question, it was a statement, information. Back there. Oh, yeah, please. All this worries me a bit. I'm always wondering what my PC is doing in my back. I mean, it was a time when at 110 bits per second we had time to check each bit. Now, I mean, at 100 megabits it's quite impossible. Sorry.
Okay, so the one is the one thing I would like to comment is that there are many network operators dislike, they want why the many network operators don't like the P2P type of the file sharing type of the P2P application is that may have some intellectual infringement possibilities. So it's a semantical issue, not the network operational issue. So I guess there is some another mechanism to protect the content itself, against the P2P. That's my comment. And the other one is the question. The P2P has quite the strange behavior on the making the IP connection, TCP connection, or the traffic patterns, and sometimes it may cause the bad things impact on the routers. For example, someone put some contents on a P2P plane, and many other clients wanted to get that one thing, and the traffic for giving that contents may have some random pattern of the traffic generation that it may cause some bad things affected to the packet forwarding table on the routers. Yeah. And it may happen. And that kind of the analysis will be valuable for the network operators. So did you do that kind of the net flow, the pattern, pattern analysis or that kind of things?
We tried to, we didn't get up to disassembling the applications, but we indeed monitored by just on the test machine. It was TCP dumped, and we reassembled all the flows in order to study all these things. But I would say that our main concern is the incident treatment on the network. So we are only 4 people at RENATER, and that's a little bit beyond of the scope of our activities as a security cell.
Okay. What I propose is Frank as well as for Kostya, that you get, of course, and you keep your question going on. I thank you, Frank, I thank you, and Kostya as well, and you all for attending. And I wish you a good evening. Thank you. Bye.